we go. We live. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, gentlemen that may tune in. Look, I want to start by saying this clearly this afternoon. This is not a conversation about calling anyone out tonight. As Coach Lucretia has stated when she posted it, right? This is about calling women up tonight because when you carry light, darkness cannot hide it. Let me just simply introduce myself for the ones that do know me. And for the ones that don't know me, my name is Tonia Lewis. I am the CEO of T&L Customer and Strategic Solutions, where we not only help organizations and leaders elevate their skill set, mindset, and their service excellence, we also help them create customized strategies to help them elevate in their business in whatever endeavor they're trying to fulfill. Right? I have Coach Lucretia here with me tonight. We're going to have an honest, good conversation about light and darkness. And we want you guys to hop in and be a part of the conversation, comment in the chat, ask questions, all that good stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Lucretia, let her introduce herself before we dive in.
Good. Look, happy Tuesday, everybody. I know today the weather is something else. I call the weather bipolar. But good evening, everybody. Listen, welcome to Sisters in Collaboration. I am Coach Lucretia. I'm the founder and visionary of Lucretia's Kingdom Legacy. Lucretia's Kingdom Legacy was birthed from obedience. It exists to equip, empower, and not only to empower, but be able to help individuals walk in their God-given purpose through publishing, mentorship, leadership development, and faith-based initiatives that build legacy, not just for today, but for generations. So everything that I do, from Consult God First Publishing to the mentorship to the leadership conversations like this, is rooted in one mission: helping people align with God's vision for their lives and steward what he has placed in their hands. Because when you align with God, everything changes. Your thinking changes, Absolutely. Your environment changes, your relationship changes, and your assignment becomes clear. And tonight's conversation is one that is very real, very necessary, and very timely. So tonight we're going to be talking about when you carry light, darkness will expose itself, like Coach Tonia said. Now, like Coach Tonia said, now this is not a conversation about attacking anyone. This is a conversation about understanding what happens spiritually when you step fully into who God has called you to be. And I'm honored to always have these type of conversations, especially with Coach Tonia tonight, because she's a leader. She's a woman of wisdom, we know, and she's someone who understands the weight and responsibility of carrying vision. So, Coach Tonia, look, I'm honored tonight to have this conversation right here, because I want to start by just saying this, and then I'm going to pass the baton back to you, because this is the part that people misunderstand. Light doesn't argue, right? Light doesn't prove itself. And light doesn't campaign. Light simply shows up, and what's hidden can no longer remain hidden. So we're going to talk about the responsibility of carrying the light. Because as women, now Coach Tonia, you can agree with me on this. Women walking in purpose and leadership, we need to understand that when God calls you to carry light, you carry visibility. You carry exposure. You carry truth. Not because you're trying to expose people, but because your obedience is a mirror. Your healing is a mirror. Your standards are a mirror. Your boundaries are a mirror. And sometimes, Coach Tonia, people don't like what your light reveals about what they've been tolerating in themselves. So when you start aligning with God, you may notice people get uncomfortable around your peace. People misinterpret your boundaries as an attitude. People call your growth arrogance. People say you change when you simply heal. People start even moving funny, talking funny, acting distant, competing, comparing, or quietly resisting. But I want to share the raw truth in this. It's not always that you did something wrong. It's often that your light exposed what they were hiding. And this is why carrying light is a responsibility, because the temptation to start defending yourself, explaining yourself, or dimming yourself so everyone else can stay comfortable. But we're not called to comfort darkness, right? We're called to carry light. So,
Absolutely.
Coach Tonia, I want you to speak into this from a leadership perspective, because you've led, you served, you've seen women step into purpose in real time. And when a woman truly starts walking in alignment, when she stops people pleasing and starts God pleasing, what have you seen happen in a person's relationship or their environment, or even in how the people respond? But I want your take on carrying the responsibility. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, look, one of the things, can you hear me good? Because I know my internet connection is off. Okay. One of the things I want us to understand, light is not just influence. And I think that when we go into leadership, we assume that light is just influence. Light is a big responsibility, right? And I was reminded of Luke 12:48, if I'm not mistaken, for unto whomsoever much is given, much is what? Much is required. But what I want to say, if God gave you a vision, he's going to require you to be disciplined in that vision. And if he puts you in a position of leadership, he's going to require your maturity. A lot of people are in leadership, but they're not mature yet on how to carry that responsibility. Because when people are following you, right, from whatever angle, when they're following you, you're setting an example, you're setting a standard, right? And you can easily get people off course because they're following what they assume is the light in you. And if he gave you the elevation, he's going to require your separation. And I think that's one of the things. And I see that all the time in leadership. And I'm glad you said that. I had a conversation today. I'm out of town right now on doing some business. And one of the things I saw when I walked into this organization today is the fact that leaders are trying to smother, right? They're smothering their people because they want their influence to always be the primary focus. Right? When you're in leadership and you have a light is transferable, right? That means if I touch you, I should light up. Your light should spread to somebody else's light. But sometimes when we get in leadership, right, we get overwhelmed with the influence. It makes us hold our chest out and start beating our chest because, okay, they follow me, they look up to me. But when you have a light in you, it's not for you. That light should be transferable, right? When you go in your house and you flick on the light, everything lights up in that room. When you go to the next room, you flick on a light, everything lights up in that room. That's how light is, right? And when it's dark in that room and you flick on that light, it automatically illuminates that room. But sometimes in leadership, we take that light and we dim other people's light because they're not actually where we are right now in the light. But as leaders, it's our responsibility to create self-sufficient individuals that will be able to carry the responsibility to share the light. And that's a lot of things that I see. And so when I was talking to this executive in this organization, I was just sharing that with him. And he said, well, I didn't think about it from that perspective. No, you came there. You are the leader.
Right.
They trust you. People know that you are the boss. They know you're the boss. They know what your qualifications, they know all of that stuff. But when they come to work for you, they want to know who you are as a person. Who are you with a title, right? And so it is a big responsibility, especially when you're trying to put yourself in a position where you're trying to lead people. You can't lead people from just simply influence, right? Because you can get good influence and you can get bad influence, right? But sometimes because of the platform, right, we forget about the pruning, right? We want the influence, but not the isolation. Sometimes before you jump into these positions as leaders, you got to ask yourself, am I actually ready? Right? Because sometimes when you get in leadership, you can be a hypocrite of what your expectations are. I mean, just be honest. So you become hypocritical because you say this is what you want. This is the standards that you have. But are you meeting the standards that you set for them? Right? And I had the leader, I had to ask themselves, are you somebody that you would follow? Are you somebody, right, that you would take orders from? Are you someone, right? That will hit the objectives that you're expecting, right? Can you fulfill the responsibilities of what you're asking them to do, right? Because sometimes influence take over and people can't actually see who the person is because they've gotten so caught up in the title,
Mm.
right? If I know what your title is, I'm going to respect you based on your title, but I don't like you, so I'm not going to work for you because I know you got that title and I need that title to keep my job, right? So
Mm.
I'm not going to put my all into that because you've made me feel less than. You've made me feel like I'm not, worthy. You've made me feel like I'm not ready for promotion, right? Because you're trying to absorb all the light and keep it hostage within yourself. Light is something that's supposed to be spread. How are we going to clear up darkness if we don't spread and share the light? How do we expect to clear darkness? And darkness
Right.
cannot be cleared with just one single person. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
take everyone connecting their light to the next person's light, to the next person's light, to the next person's light. And once there's so much light, darkness is going to have to go and hide, right? And I want people to understand, I want us to understand when you're trying to get to the next level, there
Ooh.
is going to be accountability. There has to be
Mm-hmm.
accountability because believe it or not, when we carry the light, we are responsible for who we lead astray. And a lot of people don't you're responsible for the impact you make on that particular person. Believe it or not, when you carrying this light, it is, oh my God, you got to always be checking yourself to make sure that it's not about me and it's about them. And
Absolutely.
sometimes when we go into leadership, we don't do that. We get so caught up in the position, in the title, we don't know how to be who we are as individuals because people, I promise you, and I see this all the time, people are going looking for something. They want something that's better than where they are right now. They're looking
Mm.
for something. And a lot of people that want to be led right, they want to be led right. But when you got a hypocritical system, right? And I'm just speaking from the corporate sector
Mm-hmm.
because this is what I see
Mm-hmm.
every day. When you got a
Mm-hmm.
hypocritical system, right? And you got hypocritical people that are positioned with light that they don't want to share, you create hypocritical people. You create people that cut each other throat. You create people that hate people. You create people that feel diminished. You create people, right, that will struggle. You create these type of people. So when you start evolving, and this is the responsibility of the light, when you start evolving, your conversation should change.
Mm-hmm.
Should be I, it should be we. What can we
Right.
come together as a community? What can we accomplish together as a team? Where can I pick up the slack when you're falling short? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Your tolerance should change. Your appetite should change, and the room should feel it. Before you walk in the room, your presence, your posture, all of that should shift that room. That's the responsibility of carrying the light. Because
Mm.
when you light, darkness is gonna come. I mean, darkness is gonna come. You're gonna have people throwing everything at you. They're gonna be talking about you, who she thinks she is, what she think. That's a part of carrying the light. So it's a big responsibility. And I tell people all the time, if you can't handle the pruning, the beating up, the talk being talked about, ridicule, mocked,
You
laughed
ain't
at,
ready.
I'm saying, criticize, you know,
You ain't ready.
all things, you're not ready. And it's okay to say, hey, look, I'm not ready for this right now. I got more work to do. I need to go and become more aware of myself. I need to study my word. I need to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I'm treating myself the way I'm expecting people to treat other people. I can't tell you to go in the office and serve somebody and you don't even like yourself. You don't like the person that you're sitting with. You don't even like the person that you brought in the office. You think they're trying to take your job. So you can't influence them properly with the real light because you're always watching your back thinking somebody is trying to take what you got, right?
Mm-hmm.
Light is responsibility. And just shifting your thought process when it comes to people. What can you bring to the table? Not what I can take from the table. What can I bring to the table versus wanting to eat all the time, right? Everybody wants to
Mm-hmm.
eat. Nobody want to put no food on the table.
Mm.
Light generates light.
That's right.
And when your bulb go out, I should have an extra bulb. I should be already be prepared to have a word in my belly. I should already be prepared to have an extra set of light bulbs so I can hand you off one so that you can get back up and you can start illuminating.
That's
But
right.
light covers light. That's a
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. When I'm down, you're supposed to be my watchman, right? If we say we the light, we're supposed to be watchmen of other
Mm-hmm.
of each other's light. When your light look like it's dim, girl, come on, let me pull you together. Let's touch and agree. Let's pray together. Let's do. You see what I'm saying? That's how
Mm-hmm.
you build a team. That's a part of teamwork, right?
Mm.
Working separate. And so when I go in and I shift their thought process when it comes to those things, they start seeing it from a different perspective. You can't go no further because you've taken up all the credit. You want all the credit. You want the odds to just be on you. You didn't do it by yourself. You can't know it
Mm-hmm.
by yourself. It's not going to work with just you. If that was the case, God would have put you only here on earth and let you figure it out, right?
That's right.
We're trying to do the work for God. God gave you the light. He says, study and show thyself approved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he gave you a vision and he gave you an assignment and he gave you a light, my light is not just for me. My light is for everybody. My light is supposed to shine so we can draw men to, well, we're supposed to shine so we can draw men. He said, if he be lifted up, what?
That's
All
right.
men.
That's right. Oh, that's right. That's right.
So my light is not my light, it's his light,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're trying to lift up individuals so they can come towards him, not us. But sometimes we take that responsibility and we take it lightly. But it's a huge responsibility. Huge responsibility, you guys.
Oh Lord, you look, you just broke that thing all the way down, Coach Tonia, when we talk about that, because woo, sisters, I know y'all heard her, everything that she said. But the good thing about this is, and this is something that I learned, I want to say this too with love, because we're not calling anybody demons.
Mm-mm.
We're not condemning people. We're not acting self-righteous, because sometimes people are not evil, they're just unhealed. And
That's it.
sometimes people are not enemies, they're just misaligned. You got people who are not meant to be fought, they're meant to be released. Oh, Lord God, listen, this was a season for me. But as leaders, we must stop confusing access with assignment.
Absolutely.
It's somebody out there that may be feeling lonely, they may be feeling misunderstood, or like you just too much. I want to set some encouragement, because you're not too much, you're not crazy, you're not difficult. You're just finally walking in the light. And the light will always reveal what can't stay.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say this: your job is not to dim, your job is to stay aligned. And that's gonna take us into our next truth, because when you carry the light, the next thing that happens is this: misalignment reveals itself during elevation.
Yes, it
Because elevation doesn't create what's wrong, it simply makes it visible. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about how misalignment reveals itself during elevation, because Coach Tonia, this is one of the hardest truths about elevation, right? I know a lot of people probably heard elevation requires separation. We hear that all the time.
right.
That's one of that many women experience, but they don't always understand. Elevation does not create misalignment, it reveals it. Because when you're operating at one level emotionally, whether it's spiritually, mentally, you could tolerate things that your elevated self can no longer carry. Like you could overlook certain conversations, you could excuse certain behaviors, you could remain in environments that were comfortable but not assigned to you. But when God begins elevating you, he also begins refining your discernment, not so you can become judgmental, but so
Absolutely.
you can become protected. And this
Absolutely.
is what many women don't realize, Coach Tonia, is that God will never allow you to carry. He will not allow you to carry into your next season what will sabotage your next assignment. I'm a living witness to that. So what feels like loss, what feels like distance, what feels like separation, is often God's mercy.
Absolutely.
because he sees what you can't see yet. God sit up how he look down below. I don't know why people fail to realize that God hear, see, know everything. He's omnipotent, he's omnipresent, he's omniscient.
All powerful.
And here's the part we don't talk about enough. Elevation can feel lonely. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're becoming different. And this is something that I had to come into grasp, Coach Tonia, when it came down to that, because I got to the point where I started thinking differently, moving differently, discerning differently. Conversations that once fulfilled me no longer do. Even in environments, you got to be able to understand that environments that once felt normal, it can feel heavy. Relationships that once felt aligned, it now feels forced. And it's not that you stop loving people, it's that you stop abandoning yourself. And this is something that we got to understand. When you stop shrinking to maintain comfort, you got to stop ignoring what God was revealing. Because sometimes God can be revealing things in our circle and in a situation to where we are overlooking what God is trying to reveal to us. You stop choosing familiarity over obedience. And that's when clarity comes, right? Because one of the greatest lessons, Coach Tonia, leaders must learn is this. Whether you're a leader, whether you're a person, entrepreneur, small business owner, whatever the case may be, everyone who had access to you was not assigned to your future. Some people were seasonal. Some people were lessons. Some people were preparation. And we honor that. But elevation requires alignment. Because misalignment doesn't just slow you down, it drains you, it distracts you, it delays what God is trying to build through you. And God loves you too much to allow that. Lord Jesus, my. Coach Tonia, I want you to speak into this, because many women struggle with guilt when they feel God shifting their environment or relationships, right? And they start questioning themselves. They wonder if they being too prideful, or they wonder if they doing something wrong. From your leadership experience, like how important is it for women to trust what God is revealing? Like even when it requires separation or change, because a lot of people don't understand that is not, God is protecting you from something that you can't even see. Like, how do we release people with love instead of bitterness?
Well, the thing about that is what people have to understand when you're growing, the misalignment is going to become obvious. You're not going to be searching for it. It's going to be obvious. It's even in performance, right? You'll have someone that's sitting in the meeting, but they have no intentions of hitting the target. They'll show up for work. They have no intention of performing, right? That means that they've outgrown that space. And a lot of time, because they've outgrown that space, it's uncomfortable to talk about it, because in leadership, we don't create a space where they can have that open dialogue to say, guess what? This is how I started, but this is where I'm at right now. And so when I go in and I see it, you may have hired a person to be your assistant at this particular junction in their journey, right? But now they're on a whole new level. But guess what? They want to stay in that position because they've gotten so comfortable and it's become familiar. They know what the expectations is. They know what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. But a leader that wants the best for them is going to push them out of their comfort zone, right? But you'll start seeing the misalignment in their posture, in their body language, in the way they show up, in the way they dress, in the way they talk, in the way they interact in conversations, right? And you can also tell leaders that have lost sight of the mission and the vision, because they'll be functioning. They're high functioners, right? But they're out of the game. You'll have them show up, right? And they won't say too much in the meeting, but as soon as they get out of the meeting, they'll go and talk to somebody else about the meeting, right? So you'll have them high functioning right? But they're just there to absorb, because sometimes when people go into these workspaces because they need something. It's
Right.
either a paycheck, a relationship, a friendship. And so when you get in leadership, you see people falling out all the time. It's because they've gotten too close to what they're trying to influence, right? There has got to be separation. But when you see that misalignment, right, you got to understand you can love someone and not be aligned with them.
Mm.
You can love them and not be aligned. You can even support someone and not be assigned to them,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Mm.
And you can start with someone and not even finish with them.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
that's okay. And the
Come
thing
on.
about it is, people don't think that's okay. If I start with them, I know them for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. But guess what? God may have moved you to here and you're still back there. So you're missing the opportunity to grow and
Mm-hmm.
influence somebody else to let them know it's okay to grow without me. It's
It,
okay. Because in this season, your light may need to be lit on Lucretia, because
mm-hmm.
Lucretia is not where you are right now, right?
Right. Right.
But and that doesn't make it prideful. It makes it make it discerning, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I want to just say to some of you that have been feeling like something is off, right? The conversations don't hit the same. You know how it is. They're not talking on your language. The energy feels different. The support feels conditional, right? Like you got to interview to get support. You want me to support everything you got going on, but you don't never support nothing I got going on. It can't be
Mm-hmm.
one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
When the reciprocity is one-sided, that's misalignment.
That's neglect.
That's neglect, absolutely. But guess what? That's self-neglect. That's self
Exactly.
first,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you allowed it. And that's not, and I'm not being negative, right? And that's not being negative. That just means when you start paying attention to the obvious, because a lot of times we know things are off, but
Mm-hmm.
because we assume that's the best I'm gonna get, we deal with it. But
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Did you not know if you put people in positions and they're not fulfilled, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're the light,
Mm-hmm.
you always go back and revisit what you got, right? So you can make sure that you equipped in them and you're doing what's best for them, not just what's best for you,
Absolutely.
right? So what I'm saying, look, we have got to start being selfish when it comes to, that protective. I'm protected over this. I'm protected over that, right? You have to share the oil. If you got oil, I ain't want to go all the way here, but when you got a light on you, when you got this light on you, my leadership shouldn't feel forced. Your leadership shouldn't feel forced. Your leadership will be natural. It will
Mm-hmm.
be natural. You will be leading from a place of compassion, empathy, respect. That wouldn't be something that someone would have to train you on, right? When you're in alignment. And you got to understand, even though, and I'm gonna say this and I'm saying this, I'm very careful of my words because I don't want to make anybody feel any type of way, because I'm not talking about anything, but I'm just talking about from lived experience what I see when I go in these organizations and I see people performing at what they call, they're not performing up to standard. They're not performing up to standard. Sometimes it's because we've mispositioned them. That's misalignment.
Mm-hmm.
We've given them so much responsibility, they're not ready for the responsibility. And they can have the title, but titles, when we go to school, they teach you the basics of how to perform that responsibility. They don't teach you how to treat people.
Right.
They don't train you how. A surgeon, he knows how to cut, he knows how to stitch, he knows how to do everything in regards to that. But nobody taught him how to talk to you. Nobody told him how to make you feel a certain type of way. That's something that people just naturally have in them. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people need to be taught on, this is the way you talk to a person. This is the way you treat a particular individual, right? And you got to look at it from this particular standpoint. Everybody is not ready to carry the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we issue out the oil like it's a you're getting a gift for shooting a hoop or something. Everybody can't access your oil because everybody
Mm-mm.
ain't ready for the strategy behind the oil. Everybody's not ready to pay the price
Mm-mm.
to store the oil.
Mm.
Everybody's not ready to sacrifice because when you oil it, there's gonna be some sacrifices. You hear me? And you have got to
Mhm.
protect your oil, right?
That's right.
Everybody can't access your vulnerability. They're not ready. And that's the reason a lot of times people are like, well, why did she go and release all my information and say bad things about me? Because you gave that person too much access to the oil and they weren't ready for the responsibility on how to nurture and steward the oil that you put in a place. Right? So
Mhm.
I'm talking about leadership from the business perspective and life. This is from lived experience. Your growth will expose what your
Mhm.
comfort is trying to hide. But when you are misaligned, I promise you, it's going to become so obvious, and you're going to be questioning yourself. What? Well, I used to like to do that. I don't know why I don't like to do that. It's just something about that conversation that I had with this particular person. I
Mhm.
I just don't feel the same. It's not because I don't like that particular person. It's just the fact that guess what? We've outgrew this journey. Doesn't mean that I may
Mhm.
not meet you in the next journey, but for
Right.
this
Right.
journey, for this particular journey, I have to be strategic. I have to be intentional on where I'm walking because sometimes I can walk in a booby trap, right?
Mhm.
Misalignment.
Mhm.
And we have to
Mhm.
think about that. And when we're thinking about that, it's not a bad thing. And I think sometimes people take it in a bad way. Well, she don't want to fool with me, or she don't want to do what I want her to do. Well, she goes and do this with that person. She don't do that with me. Stop thinking about it like that. Maybe God didn't assign you to take on that responsibility yet. Maybe
Exactly.
your oil needs to be brewed. Go back through the distillery again. Maybe your oil needs to be refined. Maybe you need to take time. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that when they share, right, their light, you won't be selfish and hold the glory for you and not give God the glory.
Come on.
Sometimes we hold the light because we're taking the glory away from God. He can't see because we don't took all his glory. That's the light. And
Mm.
that's even in business. That's even in when you go to work. I always believe, and and we're gonna change them. I want to say this. I always believed and I always shared this when I interacted with the people that I was responsible for training and developing. I always tell them, right, if your light don't shine when you are absent, you
Mhm.
got to do. You got work to do. If
Mhm.
God don't get the glory out of that situation, because sometimes it's not even about us. And I'm just being, it's not even about us. But we've made it so much about us. God can't get the glory because we've elevated ourselves. We've put ourselves on a pedestal. We've got out of alignment. We're misaligned with what we're supposed to be doing. So God can't see us. And we
Mm.
wonder if we have, and I'm not talking about other people, I'm speaking about we, because we all have at some point
Mhm.
gotten to a place, where guess what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it because this is what I need to do for me.
Mm-mm.
And I lost sight of the fact that guess what? This ain't even about you, girl.
Mm-mm.
God told me to speak. I always had a voice, but I never wanted to share. Things that I did it in the background, right? Because I don't like attention. I'm a very shy person. I'm actually an introvert. I'm a very shy person. But when he said speak, you speak. And so I have to be obedient. Do I want to? No, I don't. Sometimes I don't. Right? I don't. But I have to be obedient to what he told me to do because when you speak and you open your mouth, people will see the light in you, and that gives me glory. It ain't
That's
got
right.
nothing to do. So it's all about giving him glory, right? But
That's
when
right.
you become this a lot, I promise you, things will feel different.
Uh,
Everything will start feeling
mm.
different. You'll be off. Everything will feel different. But don't
Um,
take that as a bad sign. That's a growing moment. That's a teaching
mhm.
moment. That's a growing
Mhm.
moment. That means you on
Mhm.
the right track. You're growing. He's ready to elevate you. He's ready to allow you to steward more things. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to give you more, right? But what price are you willing to pay? There's going to be a price you have to pay. What
Come
price are
on.
you willing to pay?
Listen, look, that price you're gonna have to pay. I be trying to tell people, is levels to it, and we most definitely have to pay the price. But I want to speak directly to the woman who has been grieving silent separations too, Coach Tonia, because sometimes people don't leave loudly. Sometimes they leave emotionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they, like you said, I'm just piggyback off on what you said. Sometimes they stop supporting you. Sometimes they stop understanding you, and sometimes it may hurt a little bit, right? Because you remember who they were when you were building. You remember who they were when you were struggling. But elevation requires capacity. And not everyone has the capacity to walk with you where God is taking you. Not because they're bad people. But before the new year came in, I told a few people, I said, listen, get in alignment, get in alignment, get in alignment, get in alignment, get in alignment. I was so adamant and still adamant about getting in alignment. And I said, if not to be arrogant or anything like that, if it's not aligned, it can't be in my space in this season. I'm in a different season. I'm not the same woman I was 3 months ago. I'm not the same woman I was 6 months ago. I'm not even the same woman I was a year ago. So growth is necessary. And a lot of people are afraid to change. A lot of people are afraid to do the inner work. And like you said, you got to make some sacrifices and allow God to move. And even though I said not everybody has the capacity to walk with you where God is taking you, not because they're bad people, but because they're not assigned, like you said, to that level. And that's okay, because alignment is not force, it's revealed. I want to ask a few questions to the listeners out there. And just so just to get their engagement on these questions. Have you ever felt God outgrowing you from environments you once prayed for? Like sometimes we can pray for God to move, but then when it's things or people who we unexpect, we buck against God, right? Look, have you ever felt peace about releasing something, even though it hurt, right? Have you even noticed that when you stop chasing people, clarity increased? Listen, this is not becoming cold. This is not becoming prideful. This is not even about thinking you're better than anybody. This is about becoming obedient. Obedient is, listen, we know the saying obedience is better than sacrifice, because obedience will require you to choose purpose over comfort. And maturity is really learning to release with love, without resentment, without explanation, and without guilt. And I want to say this to any woman out there that's listening to this tonight. If God has been shifting your environment, or if God have been revealing things to you, if he been closing doors, you got to be able to trust God. Trust the process. Because God will never remove something without replacing it with something aligned. He is not subtracting to punish you. He is subtracting to position you. And what is truly assigned to you will never require you to betray yourself to keep it. And this is why we must talk about the next truth, because elevation and alignment, it also attracts something many leaders don't expect: spiritual warfare. This is my favorite subject, Coach Tonia. It play a major part in it too. Not because you're out of order, but because you're in position, right? So this is the truth many leaders discover in real time, but few people prepare you for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vision attracts warfare.
It does.
Not because something is wrong, but because something is right. Excuse me. Because the moment you begin walking in obedience, the moment you begin saying yes to God,
Yes.
the moment you begin aligning your life with purpose, you become a threat to anything, anyone that benefited from your confusion, from your delay, or your disobedience. Ooh, glory to God.
Mm-hmm.
And warfare doesn't always show up dramatically. Sometimes it shows up subtly. It shows up as sudden discouragement when you were once confident. It shows up as confusion where there was once clarity. It shows up as fatigue when you know you're called to move forward. It shows up as distractions that pull your focus away from your assignment, or even opposition from places you didn't expect. And guess what? It makes you question yourself.
Absolutely.
It can make you ask, Lord, what, am I doing something wrong? Or, Lord, why is this so hard? But often the resistance is not there to stop you. It's there because your obedience is disrupting something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to normalize something here, because this for every woman listening tonight. Resistance doesn't mean you're out of alignment. Sometimes resistance is confirmation that you are exactly where God called you to be. Because growth, let me tell y'all something, it requires opposition. Strength, it requires resistance. And leaders are not developed in comfort. They are developed through endurance, obedience, and trust. Like warfare doesn't mean you're losing. Sometimes warfare means you're advancing. So, Coach Tonia, I want to talk about warfare for a minute that people don't see, because sometimes the greatest warfare isn't external, it's internal, right?
Absolutely.
It's the warfare between fear and faith, comfort and obedience, doubt and trust, and shrinking to step forward. It's when God tells you to move and everything in your natural mind tells you to wait, right? And it's when God is calling you higher, but your past, let me tell y'all about your past. Your past will try to remind you of who you used to be. I had my past to try to creep back up on me and say, oh, well, she used to do this. I say, you know what? Yeah. But the key word is used to. It's a difference. Don't allow your past to define where God is taking you. See, so many people, they stuck on your past, but they can't even see where God is elevating you and taking you, because they so stuck to what you used to do. And in those moments, leadership requires you to trust God, but beyond what you can feel. So, Coach Tonia, I want you to speak into this too, because many women interpret resistance as a sign to stop instead of a sign to stand. What encouragement would you give to any woman who's facing like resistance? Not because they're out of order, but because they are walking in obedience.
One thing I would say to anyone that's listening, elevation is going to require your discernment to become sharper. You're going to have to sharpen your discernment. Iron sharpens iron, but you got to sharpen your own iron. When was the last time you sharpened your own iron? Because a lot of the resistance and the opposition is not from other people. It's in your head. It's in you. You are your greatest opposition, battling in your mind, telling yourself, am I good enough? I should be there by now. I should be. It's you. When was the last time you took time to sharpen your own iron? Because let me tell you this, everybody will not understand your obedience. Everybody is not going to understand your boundaries. They're not going to understand it. Why? Because they're too close to you. How dare you set boundaries when we used to run the streets together, when we used to club together, when we used to party together, when we used to get high together, when we used to drink together, when we used to hold down together, when we used to play the field. They don't understand that, right? And that's okay, because he's preparing you so that you can show them a different way. And when they start seeing the light in you, guess what? It's going to convict them, not because of what you said. So we got to stop putting people in hell before their time. We got to stop putting people in hell before their time. Do you ever think that the warfare hit you hard so that you can be a shield, right? Warfare comes at all of us because God is strengthening us. He hits us harder than he hit
Yes, Lord.
anybody. So that we can self-reflect, so that we won't get ego won't get in the way. We won't get the big head and start thinking that we can outmaneuver God. A lot of our frustration and some of our issues, and I'm just being honest, is because we done went ahead before God and we telling him to catch up when he was already there. You put him on the back, you put him on the back burner. And that's where the spiritual warfare is coming from, because we've gotten ahead of God. Right? God has already told us when he formed us in our mother's womb who we are. But guess what? We're trying to create our own identity now because he's moving too slow. He ain't talking fast enough. I can't hear him clearly. The reason we can't hear him clearly because we ain't obedient to what he's trying to tell us. Sometimes we got to listen. We got to shut up long enough to listen. But a lot of time people are listening enough just to respond. I got you moment. I'm just waiting for her to say this so I can come back at this. I'm ready for. Do you not know there's a lot of times that I wanted to clap back at church folks, at all kinds of people? But guess what? Where would that have gotten me? They would still been doing the same thing, right? I would have gotten out of alignment with where God was taking me, right? So everybody's not going to understand you. Everybody's not going to understand your shift. And guess what? You got to get comfortable with that. Because when you start shifting, that means God got something bigger and better for you to do. That means you done already fulfilled the place that you were at. He got something else in store for you. That's a bigger assignment, because you've been faithful over a few things. I'm going to make you ruler over many things, right? You've been faithful over that. You showed me that you can steward that. So guess what? I'm going to elevate you, not on your time, not when you say you're ready, not based on your degrees, not based on your title. I'm going to elevate you because you showed me that you've been faithful over a few things. Right? You show me that you can steward your emotion. You show me that you can steward your kindness. You show me that you can steward humility. You show me that you can steward empathy. You show me that you can steward compassion. You show me that you can steward and help the homeless. You can feed the people. You can go there, right? And look out for people other than yourself. So guess what? It's time for you to speak now.
You speaking tonight.
Right? You to speak now. But we got to understand there's a time and a season for everything. There's a time and a season for everything. And sometimes you can be jumping in somebody else's season because you want to be where they at, but you don't know the hell or the price they had to pay to get to where they at. There is hell on this journey, right? But if we constantly sending people to hell before they time without understanding, guess what? You had to walk through the same fire that they're trying to walk through. Right? All I'm saying, you guys, stop over-explaining your evolution. Right? And stop shrinking to maintain access to people that are not assigned to you in this season. It don't mean you don't have to, you don't have to stop loving them. The worst thing that you can do is, and I use this analogy all the time, you can open up a business and you can tell the people that you're supposed to be at 9 o'clock, you show up at 9:15. What expectation did you set that they can show up when they get ready? That's the same thing with your life. You expected them to be saved, sanctified, falling out, slobbing, because you are. They ain't there yet. How do we get them there? By shining your light. Showing compassion, showing love, giving them the word, the real word, not your word, right? Giving them the real word. Let them read scripture. Keep talking about the scripture. It's gonna drive a draw. It's gonna drive you a draw. The word is the word. It don't need no extras. Right. It don't need no. You can read it, and a lot of times we trying to put our spin on the word. And you're pushing people farther away from the word because we're putting our spin on what our expectations is. But give God an opportunity to convict, drive, and draw, right?
Exactly.
And stop apologizing. And I would tell anybody, stop apologizing for where you are right now. Maybe you there for a
Exactly.
reason. Maybe you there, right? So somebody can see that, guess what? She was right there right now, but look at her
Mm-hmm.
right now. Stop apologizing for trying to get
Mm-hmm.
clarity. Stop apologizing for the things that you went through, the things that you had to deal with. You are clear. Get clear on where you're trying to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're not distant. You just
Woo!
focus now. You're not proud. You're just protecting your
Come on, speak to
purpose.
me.
Sometimes the tension you feel is an attack, it's
Mm,
exposure,
mm,
right?
mm, mm.
And light makes things visible. But light makes things visible
That's
in
right.
you. So before you try to check me, I need you to check yourself to make sure you got oil in your lamp so your
That's
light
right.
can shine. And if another of us start checking our own
Mm-mm.
lamps, right? Imagine how many people lamps will be shining if we checked our own lamps, make sure we
That's
got
right.
oil. And we got a reserve stored up for the ones that need some extra oil. That's what we're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be doing. That's
That's right.
stewardship, right?
Ooh, Lord.
And sometimes the tension you feel is not attack. You got it. Okay, it's relevant in the season that you're
Mm.
in. It's okay. So that's what I would share with you guys. Be okay
Ooh.
with being okay where you are. You're still a work in
Mm.
progress. I don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in, so I don't put my mouth on nobody. Right?
That's
Only
right.
thing I say, Lord, give them gave me. Give them what you gave me, Lord. Give them what you gave me. You gave me the word. I'm gonna study it. I'm gonna read the word. I ain't got to go around all day holding the Bible saying, holy, holy. I know what you got put in me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You
Exactly.
give them the
Exactly.
same word. I don't have to change the word. That's what the word said. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
manipulate the word. Sometimes we're trying to manipulate. I don't have to manipulate the word.
Mm, mm,
I
mm,
don't have to
mm.
manipulate it. And you don't either. Just be who you are. Be happy with who you are because God created you for a purpose. I'm telling you.
Amen. Amen.
All the men in the Bible, they went through something. They was drunk. They was hoes. They did a lot of things. But guess what? That's what God did. He used all of them. So what makes you think you different? Why you think he can't use you?
That's right.
It may not be your season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Every, every test is a testimony.
Mm-hmm. Lord have mercy. Man, look, you over here. You got my wig lined up. You got me over here. You got me over here sweating. But look, you speaking some facts because you speaking to me. I'm over here like, wait a minute now. No, we I came up with the title, but you over here speaking to me. I'm like, okay, Coach Tonia. But I'm gonna say this because I know our time, when we get to talking on these sisters in collaboration, we get to talking. And me and Coach Tanya, we go a little bit deeper. But when you carry vision, you carry something valuable. And anything valuable, it gotta be protected, not hidden in fear, but guarded in wisdom. Because sometimes God will reveal things to you, not so you can confront them, but so you can adjust
Mhm.
your proximity. Not every revelation is an invitation to argue. Sometimes it's an instruction to move a little bit different because confrontation does not always produce transformation. And discernment, let me tell you, I heard somebody told me I had cutthroat discernment. It helps you recognize when your assignment is to speak and when your assignment is to simply move forward in peace. And one of the things that I learned as I wrap up, and I'm gonna give back to Coach Tanya to close us out. But one of the signs that a leader is growing is emotional discipline because
Mhm.
immature leadership reacts to everything. Mature
Absolutely.
leadership discerns everything. Immature leadership understands that alignment will defend itself. And this is especially important when people misunderstand you. You're gonna misunderstand you. Listen, it's okay to be misunderstood because
Mhm.
misunderstanding is often a part of leadership. You cannot spend your assignment explaining your obedience. Like Coach Tony, you can't explain your obedience is not to be explained. You cannot spend your assignment trying to convince people to understand what God revealed to you privately. Your responsibility is not to manage everyone's perception of you. Your responsibility is to remain obedient. And the good thing about this, Coach Tonia, I want to say this. Protecting your assignment requires strength, discipline, and discernment. And I know a lot of times many women feel the urge to respond, explain, correct every misunderstanding when it comes down to that. But any woman that who has been felt pulled in multiple directions, let me say this to you. If you've been misunderstood, if you've been the type of person that feel pressure to explain yourself or feel tempted to defend your growth, you don't have to defend what God is developing. God will confirm what he has called. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone. Your responsibility in this season is to remain aligned, because when you carry vision, distractions will come disguised as invitations. Ooh. Opportunities will come that are not assignments. I almost choked myself over here, y'all. Let me drink a little Sprite. Hold on, man. But conversations will come that are not meant for your participation. And not only that, discernment will help you recognize the difference. So here's the thing. I want to say this because it's a difference between having access and alignment. Every leader must learn the difference between access and alignment. Just because someone has access to you don't mean they are aligned with you. Alignment produces peace. Mm-hmm. Misalignment produces confusion, pressure, and emotional exhaustion. And discernment, let me tell you what discernment does. It gives you permission to protect your peace without guilt, because protecting your peace is not selfish, and it all falls back to stewardship.
Absolutely.
Coach Tonia talked about that all. So I'm going to encourage y'all tonight, that every woman that's listening, every leader, every business owner, whoever you are out there, listen, protect your oil.
Yes.
Protect your peace. Protect your obedience. Not everyone is going to understand your assignment, and that's okay. Listen, it's okay. It can be a lonely road. It's okay. I'm okay. Because God didn't give them the vision. He gave it to you.
Absolutely. And
what God entrusts to you is your responsibility to steward, not to explain, not to dilute, and not to abandon. Absolutely. So discernment is going to protect what emotion would expose. And when you protect your assignment, you position yourself to walk fully in what God has called you to carry. You don't have to fight every battle. You just got to remain aligned. And here's the final truth. It's the final truth tonight, because leadership is not meant to be carried alone.
Absolutely.
It must be carried in alignment, which is why collaboration requires more than connection. It requires spiritual alignment. This is Sisters in Collaboration. And we celebrate collaboration because collaboration is powerful.
Absolutely.
But here's the truth, though. Collaboration without alignment becomes compromise. It becomes confusion. It becomes frustration. It becomes drain. Because collaboration doesn't merge gifts. It merges spirit, peace, values, and vision. And that's why it can't be fruit. I mean, let me back up. It can't be built on excitement alone, okay? It got to be built on alignment, not just agreement, because agreement can be temporary. But let me tell y'all what alignment means. It means that we carry similar values. We move with integrity. We honor the assignment. We respect timing. We communicate with maturity. We don't compete in the same room we claim to support.
Absolutely.
Because when God aligns people, let me tell y'all something. There is peace, no striving. There is clarity, no confusion, and acceleration. Things move without unnecessary resistance. And sometimes the biggest red flag is not conflict, it's constant friction. Because what God truly is in, now it's not going to always be easy, but it's going to be covered. It's going to be fruitful.
Absolutely.
and it will not require you to betray your discernment to keep it. So let's be honest, y'all. And I'm about to pass it back to Coach Tonia. Some collaborations are really access requests. Like she said earlier, title connections, extraction disguised as partnership, or proximity to your anointment. Your anointing, I mean, not commitment to the vision. And let me tell y'all, this is why I tell y'all discernment is very important in this season, because discernment is going to ask, is this connection covenant or is it convenience? I had to do that a few weeks ago. Is this covenant or is this convenience? Is this partnership a sign or is it just available?
Absolutely.
Because everyone who claps is not called to build. And everyone who wants to connect is not meant to collaborate.
Absolutely.
So, Coach Tonya, I want to speak into what healthy, God-aligned collaboration truly looks like, especially for women leaders, visionaries, people who are building in a season where people want to connect fast, but alignment takes wisdom. And I know we pushing for time, but I want to hear your perspective on that when it comes down to that. But I'm gonna say my last word, and I'm gonna let you close us out. But I want to let these people know that they're not alone. Because if anybody on here has experienced clarity, separation, or any shifts in your life, it is not punishment, it's preparation. That means God is refining you, He is strengthening you, He is positioning you. And when you carry light, darkness is going to expose itself.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you're fighting anything, but because you are walking in truth. Coach Tony, what final encouragement would you like to share with the women tonight? Because I'm gonna give it back to you and let them know that their light is not a burden, their light is not a mistake, and their light is their assignment. So I encourage everybody to continue walking in obedience, walking in alignment, and trust that God is ordering your steps. And listen, that's it. I said what I had to say. I'm gonna pass this torch back to Coach Twain. I'm gonna let her close us out. I've been saying it for the longest, but I had to get that out, y'all, because you want to make sure that you're most definitely walking in the light.
Absolutely.
Walking in the light. Y'all ever heard that song? Don't let your light burn low. That's a song. Don't let your light burn low.
Absolutely. You're responsible for stewarding your light. You're responsible for storing it. And what I want to say to you guys tonight has been well spent. I thank everybody for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're collaborating from a healthy place, you don't see it as competition. You don't see it as competitive, right? Everything won't be perfect, but it's just like connecting the dots, putting a puzzle together. Those pieces will be able to fit. You'll be able to connect those pieces. Right? Everybody will be looking for the one piece. We'll be looking at the puzzle together, and we'll be looking for that piece that's going to interlock at that time. You're going to be then, after you interlock that, we're going to look at the next piece that needs to be interlocked at that particular time. What am I saying? That simply means you're not going to create the puzzle overnight. But when you're in alignment, you're going to look at the pieces and you're going to come up with a way to get it connected. I'm going to come up with a different way to get it connected. We're going to bring our ideals together where it's going to benefit both of us because we're striving to connect that puzzle. That's what healthy collaboration looks like. It has nothing to do with either one of us. The behavior is reciprocal. That means the benefits are going to benefit both of us, right? We have to look at it from that standpoint. And when you're carrying the light, I don't want you to feel like your light is aggression. It is not aggression. I don't want you to feel like your discernment is pride or your boundaries are, rejecting somebody. That's not the case, right? Your elevation is not arrogance. And I know people say that your elevation it's not arrogance. And for my leaders out there that are listening, my business owners out there that are listening, my organizations that are out there listening, it's time for you to start listening to what you bring aboard. It's time for you to start listening, not just to respond. right? And for my youth out there, it's time for us to start listening to them because they can tell us and give us some insight that we never thought about,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want you to understand, if God trusted you with the vision, if He trusted you with the assignment, if He trusted you with anything, right? If He trusted you with alignment, you have a
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to walk in that alignment. You have a
Absolutely.
responsibility to shine your light. You have a responsibility to do these things. And if He trusted you with the authority, the influence, and position you in a role of authority and leadership, you're going to be graded on that. You're going to be responsible for the people that you steward. You're going to be responsible for the way that they go. You're going to be responsible,
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. They're responsible as well, right?
Exactly.
If He trusted you with the light, guess what? He's going to shield you from the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to shield you from the darkness. So, what I say to you guys tonight, don't let your light intimidate you.
That's right.
Don't put your own light out before your light starts shining. Don't let what people think or what people say make you put your own light out. God put
Mm-hmm.
light in all of us. It's just up to us to shine bright. I don't want you to beat yourselves up no more. You ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. None of us perfect. But we all got a responsibility. When we
That's
come in
right.
contact with people, we have a responsibility of what we deposit in people. We have a responsibility of what we say to people. We got a responsibility on how we steward and lead people. So when you go
Mm-hmm.
into these roles, take it serious because it's a responsibility. It is not one that you should take lightly. So look, all I'm saying tonight, trust God.
Mm-hmm.
Don't walk
Amen.
before God. It ain't about you and where you want to go. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that it's all about God's glory. It has nothing to do with me.
That's
I'm
right.
not speaking on my own power. I'm speaking in power because He instilled this in me. He gave me a voice to speak, right? So I'm in alignment with my assignment right now. Your light is not a mistake. I don't care what nobody tell you. Your light is not a mistake. Your light may not be flickering the way mine is flickering right now, but that don't mean
Mm-hmm.
you get there. That means your oil need to just be refined, right? He's working on it. He's taking all the chemicals out of it, all the harsh minerals out of that oil. He's refining you, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
is assignment. And this season is alignment season. I talk about alignment a lot. This season is alignment season. Everybody is not going with you. It's okay.
That's right.
Feeling like you got to have everybody connected to your hip. At the end of the day, if we all walk in this Christian race and we're Christians, we're going to meet up
That's right.
because we don't think about it. Maybe my light was supposed to be in that crowd right there for the season, and your
Mm-hmm.
light supposed to be over there in that crowd for the season. And when we meet back up, we're gonna have other people that's gonna come with us, and then they gonna go off in the west, they gonna go off in the east, they gonna go off in the south, they gonna go off in the north. But when we meet back up in the middle, we're gonna have more people walking in light. So when you're thinking about that, I want you to think about it from that perspective. You have a gift, you have a light. It's time for us to start shining our light before men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start seeing the glory of God. It ain't about us. So I'm
That's right.
encouraging everyone tonight on this call, go back and check your lamps to make sure you got enough oil. Because we're in a season right now with spiritual warfare. And
Mm-hmm.
some of it ain't even spiritual warfare. Some of it is us warfare, us, right? Some of it is us trying to move ahead of God. Some of it is us trying to move before God. And I'm encouraging you guys, go back and make sure that you can say that I've stewarded what God gave me. And when you can say I've stewarded well what God gave you, then you can be a good steward to everybody, not just for yourself. Walk in the light. Look, you guys, I don't know if Coach Lucretia has anything else to say. But if God gave you some, I'm telling you, I just feel strongly about this, Coach Lucretia. I feel strongly about it. God has gave all of us a responsibility. I'm telling you, He's given all of us a responsibility not to beat each other down. Speak the word and let the word drive a draw.
Amen.
Let the word convict. Speak the word and stop and don't add nothing or don't take nothing away.
Now, look, I do got something else. One little last thing. Wait a minute. I do got one little last thing to say because Coach Tonia already done called it home. This is not about, just to reiterate, this is not about cutting everybody off. This is not becoming isolated. This is about being intentional, okay? Because your time is holy, your oil is valuable, your assignment is costly in this season. And God is just not connecting you with people who can celebrate you. He's aligning you with people who can build with you, cover you, and stay consistent when it's time to work. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Look, you guys, this has been another episode of Sisters in Collaboration, right? Real collaboration, you guys, is not support me while I build, right? It's how can I help you build? What can I do to help you? It's not about just sharing your flyer. Girl, let me share your flyer. It's not for me clapping for you publicly, right? It's for clapping for you behind the scenes as well.
That's right.
And it's not me just buying for you because it's cool. It's doing it because I believe in what you're trying to accomplish, right? Sisters in Collaboration, we just came up with this. We just had a conversation and just started talking, right? But when we started talking, it was an alignment. I don't know her. I didn't know Lucretia personally. This 3 years, I had one conversation with her 3 years ago, and just out of the blue, we started talking, right? But back then, that wasn't my assignment. That wasn't her assignment. That wasn't it wasn't my time to speak at that particular moment. It wasn't time for me to walk in the light that God gave me. But now it's the time for a time such as this.
That's
right? So look, we're going to hop off, you guys. This has been amazing.
Yes.
I hope it resonated with you guys. I pray that something that we said would help you, right? Not to hurt you, because I'm a person, I don't believe in hurting anybody. If I can't do nothing to help you, I sure ain't finna do nothing to hurt you. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone, I'm here, right? But I'm intentional about who I share my space with. Everybody can't have access to me, right? And it's not a bad thing. It's just saying that, guess what? You may not be in alignment right now, but who's to say we won't meet up down the road?
That's right.
And I shared that because of how me and Lucretia met. That was 3 years back. And then God, all of a sudden, I don't know how it happened. Or she jumped in my inbox. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. That's 3 years down the road. I wasn't thinking about what we were talking about at that time because it wasn't the right time. God brought it back around the circle, full circle, right?
Yes, He did.
For a time such as this. And we need some light bearers in this world. We need some light, some truth that's going to be able to speak to power. We need some people that are willing to speak the truth, not because that's my buddy. We need real people that are going to speak the truth, whether it hurts or not.
That's right.
That's what we do as collaborators. She can throw stuff off me. I can throw stuff off, and we're gonna speak truth,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, I'm gonna hop off because I'll talk all night. But we thank you guys for tuning in tonight.
Yes.
Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And I pray that God bless each and every one of you guys tonight.
Absolutely.
I pray that He shields your mind, touch your heart, right? So we can get it together, so we can start loving better. We can start collaborating
Mm-hmm.
better. We can start walking in alignment,
That's
right?
right.
So that we can fulfill our individual assignment, so we can collectively come together and fulfill the ultimate
That's
assignment,
right.
right? So look, you guys, if there's nothing else from Coach Lucretia, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you know someone that needs to hear this, please share
Mm-hmm.
and comment, right? It lets us know that, guess what we're talking about resonates, and that way we can have more conversations like that. And if for some reason you want to join us on one of your conversations,
Mm-hmm.
because I love everybody's perspective,
Yeah.
because what I may a perspective I may have, you may have a different perspective, and that may be an aha moment for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So look, you guys, until next time, until next Tuesday, if God's willing, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. This has been another episode of Sisters in Collaboration. I hope you guys have an amazing evening and an amazing rest of your week.